more cohesive for sure. Vayne remaining on the bans, and an early Syndra ban with that Gnar going to give you the response as soon as that Vayne was banned.
So I feel like I, at least personally, have a pretty high Ryze priority, especially with the Syndra ban.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have been playing it into it. I mean, it's a very good, flex ban versus BLG in general. That's why they keep on doing it. But it also does even raise more priority on the Ryze.
Yeah, I think Ryze can be really good. We'll see what else gets banned out. But if someone does go Ryze, I do always like, anti-Wukong or anti-Pantheon, kind of like aggressive answers, allow you to really, start fights, attack pretty heavily in that mid lane too.
Yeah, you can go the Annie route or the Taliyah route are, I feel like, the other two good answers into it still up right now.
Yeah, I feel like the Taliyah has started really becoming a popular option into it. I feel like Annie has found not all that much success so far this MSI. This last ban, I think, should go over to the Vi, because then you'd be contesting Vi or Ryze for that first pick, but the Pantheon will be taken away instead. And will BLG just leave both of them up and take whatever is not taken here by HLE?
Yeah, exactly. You could go for a trade, and I mean, there is still Nocturne up and available as well, if you want to use that to kind of counterplace and look in and have that pressure as well.
Yeah, let's see. Because then I guess, yeah, if you go over the Ryze and you go like Taliyah and Vi combination, and you have point and click set up too. A lot of discussion though.
Yeah, let's
There's
figure it out.
the Vi, okay.
The Vi just going to be banned away. They don't want to take that risk. Kanavi was pretty powerful on that champion last time, and so the Ryze just going to be freely picked up. The Anivia still up and available, but no Cassiopeia for the counter.
Yeah, you can go in towards the Anivia. You can go, the anti-answer that some players do really enjoy. There is also some players are really a fan of Nocturne plus Aurora and those types of kind of like aggressive angles, because Nocturne obviously is still up and available even though Ori is gone. Varus, a champion that has been receiving a lot of bans, can still work as poke Varus, can work pretty well as on hit, and does have that possibility to be flexed up to the top lane, though we haven't really been seeing it much at MSI.
Not so much anymore. One more pick to come through from Shun, and the Nocturne going to be picked up. You were talking about the the Aurora Nocturne, and you don't need to worry about Aurora being picked in theory unless Zeus is going to play that top lane.
And I just also like Nocturne in general for later in the game too versus Ryze, because Ryze is always looking to get some split push advantage so he can realm warp first and stuff, and Nocturne's always going to keep him in check a bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Knight did decide to go for that Aurora. Can be a little bit tougher in that 1v1, but they're just expecting dive, right? You're seeing Nocturne, you're expecting there to be dive drafted alongside it. If you are going to see Xayah Rakan, then maybe that dissuades them a little bit, but the thing is, Nocturne doesn't really have a backup plan. Like, you ult, you go in, that's really all there is to it. So Annie, another option. We discussed about, Annie, Wukong, Annie, Pantheon, those kind of angles. And they might just go Annie Nocturne as well. It's a similar principle to the Aurora. I think it is a bit better in the 1v1 against the Ryze, but you turn off the lights, you come from a surprising angle, all of a sudden Timber's on your head.
Exactly. It has effectiveness in these team fights, you can get into a very good position there for a split second, and sometimes you can just beat out the Xayah and, burst her before she has a chance to react.
Yeah, and there was one thing that I kind of forgot about the Annie. This is also Knight's Annie. This guy has been ridiculous on this champion throughout his entire career. And so maybe he is going to be the difference maker. It didn't work for Zeka when he was facing off against him, but Knight, he's going to be the one piloting her this time.
Yeah, it was his most played in the LPL. I don't think he's played it yet at MSI, so he is going to be bringing that out. And the other thing you always have to remember with Nocturne versus Xayah, obviously Xayah great at absorbing the dive, but when the fear tether is on you and you go up in the air, the fear tether does not break. You get feared as you come down, which can make things pretty difficult thereafter for the rest of the fight.
Not having to worry about it. Yeah.
Because they don't want to get poked out.
Yeah, and also not having to worry about the Cataclysm is going to be a good thing here as well for the Xayah. Gumayusi has been pretty phenomenal on this champion.
I think if you're going to be banning Seraphine, then you also kind of have to ban Nico. I feel like Nico does kind of fit the theme of what BLG is going for
Nico
anyway.
Nocturne pretty strong.
Yeah, exactly. And Nico plus Varus is a strong 2v2, so that would kind of be my expected ban. The Trundle does make me think that Bin is considering a top lane tank to go alongside this, and instead they're going to ban the Lulu. So I would expect that we would get a Nico. It's interesting that they are more worried about those potential enchanters. Maybe their read is that it's going to be like on hit Varus and that sort of style, but I feel like there's not really anyone tanky on the other side yet, so you could just play that safer, poke Varus with Nico, play for the 2v2 dominance. Nico plus Nocturne plus Annie, very, very good engage, very good burst.
All right.
And maybe Zeus is thinking that he wants to play a melee carry too, and they don't want to have to deal with Polymorph either for some of these team fights.
Okay.
All It's just going to be an Alistar locked in here for On. A lot more playmaking available for him as well. How's, you know, the blind Silas top for Zeus? Could be an angle. Every time I see the Alistar, I just assume that we're looking for a Silas angle. That the Olaf is a consideration here.
Yeah, Olaf, when you're looking over at what they have, you know, could be potentially strong, but of course, a lot more risk associated with it. Zhao still up and available. Is good at absorbing a lot of this engage with the Crescent Guard, making it difficult to actually fight through him. To reach that back line, as they are obviously going to be trying to dive in onto Guma.
Is it just a Scion? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think it's possible. I think that Bin definitely is considering going towards the tank with the Trundle Man.
Well, biding our time here, waiting to see what Zeus is going to play, and that Olaf comes back once again and will be locked in. All right, what does Bin have for us as an answer to the Viking?
I feel like you just pop with the Counter-Strike and you're able to absorb so much of that, right? You just leave the Counter-Strike running full.
Also, I think the Jax is better versus the Xin, too. You know, if jungle's going to be up there and ganking you, it is very, very good. You know, obviously, the dodging auto attacks, and you're always thinking about the top and jungle duo because they're probably going to force up there when you do pick the Olaf and you want the Olaf carry.
And Jax, you know, not that meta these days, but when you think of Bin, you think of Jax.
Oh, yeah.
This guy has been, you know,
I also think of Gwen, but
yeah,
that's from some old wounds, but might come back sometime in this series as well. We have seen sprinklings of Gwen so far.
Some people think of Gangplank, you know.
Yeah,
some people might have trauma.
Bin has definitely done some stuff throughout his career so far, but those are your drafts. A blind Olaf from Zeus going to be punished by the Jax here towards this top side of the map. And Bin so far hasn't necessarily had the most fun in lane. I think the Renekton did a pretty good job, but outside of that, Zeus did manage to get the upper hand. This time, it might be the Bin show.
It is so interesting that the blind Olaf has come in a couple times now. Doran also played it in their series against G2. Not a pick that you pretty much ever see blinded in pro play, but it has now come out twice from the LCK teams. And I do think when you are going up against this Jax as the Olaf, the pressure is on you to make things happen early. The Counter-Strike obviously is a fantastic tool to deal with it, but if you can force that Counter-Strike out, there are opportunities to potentially look for that all in. But if you do not make that happen, Jax is going to become very difficult to deal with, and Bin is even going Ignite, so this is going to be a spicy top lane. And Zeus is not playing Flash, so it's actually Bin with the double combat summoner advantage. It is just Ghost TP here from Zeus, so a much more conservative approach where Bin is going to be looking to actually just try to dominate that 1v1.
That is very frightening here for Zeus. Let's see whether he can actually play defensively, as the rest of BLG wondering when they can go in to clear out this vision. HLE do get information about the 3 people moving over.
And again, if you're looking to dominate the top lane, you need to dominate jungle.
Yeah, Zeka waiting for his moment to make his way in as Kanavi still wants to get back through. There's the flash out of the Counter-Strike. And already, things not going HLE's way.
Jungle dominated, Atlus.
Yep.
They push him out on the Raptors. Nocturne is so good at doing that, and the full support of BLG in their efforts splits the map for the Flash Ignite Jax here, really trying to get advantage after advantage and keep the Olaf on low economy in this game.
And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that HLE even tried to contest it when Annie walks in with a prep stun. Nocturne is incredible on the Raptors, and you have an Ignite Jax that has Counter-Strike at level 1. That is just a tough 3v3 to actually ever win out in.
And, you know, as good as Xin is, you know, in kind of like fair duels with people, when you don't have Flash, it is easy to pick that champion. It's hard to make escapes. You have to have like enemy minions or jungle camps or something around to be able to dash to. So you have to be a little bit careful if your opponents try and close some traps on you. And On is kind of watching at the moment, and maybe one of those traps is about to be sprung.
Shun making his way in. The Dustbringer is going to connect as Kanavi doesn't have Flash, remember, from the earlier play. And he'll be taken down. The Umbral Glaives will take him out. And the red buff going to be claimed there as well. So it's camps on top of everything. This Nocturne is going to be so big.
It is beautiful, Atlus. I love the jungle game of chess, and the trap snaps shut on Kanavi. They kill him. They know with no Flash, I can easily come defend my bottom quadrant. And On makes the difference. Look at this. They've got vision. They have everything. You're playing right into their hands.
And Shun took an early base, bought boots, so he could get out there even faster. So he's coming out of base with the boots, arrives to this fight, and On, like you said, just sets it up beautifully. Kanavi still level 2 against the level 3 Nocturne with boots, with an Alistar, no way out.
I'm telling you, man, On is my favorite support in the world. He plays so well for jungle. And BLG, they're going to reap the rewards now. You talk about Shun being ahead, Nocturne a full level ahead, and Nocturne's topside.
Oh dear, Zeus in a lot of trouble, gets stunned up by the Counter-Strike. And in goes the Nocturne, getting very scared as this Viking, and then taken out.
And that is the danger of playing Ghost TP. Yes, Bin did have to give up a big wave, though, for that. He lost a lot of minions at that tower. But they didn't even need the Ignite to kill Zeus, and Zeus realizes he can't break the Fear Tether.
Camp him, camp him!
Well, that's exactly what they're doing, is Bin just gets back to work once again. And Zeus not going to be able to get out of this one. The Ignite ticking down, the Fear tethers once more. And the Alcove will not save you, Zeus. He falls a second time in a row.
Okay, jungle diff. How do we measure the jungle difference in this game, Atlas?
I don't think we have anything very long in the area.
14-hour flight.
We'll use kilometers and miles.
Man, that is tough. That is so tough.
Oh, look at this minion wave just going by the wayside as well.
And I just love it. I mean, Ghost scales better for Olaf, you know, later on into the game. It is really, really valuable if you're going to go one or the other. You love having Ghost when you pop the Ragnarok, you're sprinting in. But if you do not have Flash, it is so hard to get away from these ganks. He can't break any of the Fear Tethers, and they just held the Ignite for the repeat gank. Now Bin already has his steel caps. He is off to the races. It is physical damage, auto attackers, both of those topsiders that could attack him, and Bin is just going to be in a dream scenario.
I really want to compliment BLG for their game plans that they have shown, because we always compliment them for their mechanics and their insane solo laners, but they have had really good game plans and executed on them very effectively to get a lot of their leads. And this is another very nice case of it. Mid lane is a scrap.
Yeah, Headbutt Pulverize does come in. There's a double knockoff from Delight, though, on this Rakan. Gets the flash out of On, and will be able to make his way out. And one thing does need to be mentioned, this is Delight's signature champion, right? This Rakan is something that he's really made magic on, even when he was on Bro. This guy has been a phenomenal Rakan player. The problem is, he has to dig them out of this massive hole.
Yeah, I mean, he can be an absolute game changer. Watching him on the Blitzcrank break the hearts of the LCS yesterday in that pivotal Game 5, this guy is crazy good on anything that can engage, anything that can go. He will find the angle. He will be able to turn around a fight, and he's going to have to in a game like this, as Zeus is looking for a proxy angle.
Yeah, he is just going to walk past the turret. Doesn't take a turret shot, which is going to be very, very handy, as Shun and On making their way in to try and take this dragon, and they just steal it. The paranoia comes in. It's level 4 to level 6 in the jungle. And Shun is going to chase the Rakan out of there. The hail of arrows will pierce Kanavi, and Viper will just wander back to lane.
Yep, and I'll have to check, but I'm pretty sure it's also a smite upgrade difference. When you've got that much experience lead and you've been countered, it is brutal, man. Jungle diff all the way.
Oh, Chains of Corruption just barely. Just need a little bit of an extra link in there. They would have been able to lock down Gumayusi before he gets that Featherstorm, but not to be this time around. As Zeka and Knight are fighting. Zeka dealing with a bear as well as the Annie, as that Pyroblast doing a lot of work. But no kills to happen just yet.
I mean, that is just so devastating there, you know, for HLE. You're already behind, and then you're way down experience, way down camps. You spend so much time trying to kill off this dragon. He comes in, and it is that upgraded smite diff that you're calling out from 755. Yeah. It's still that 600 smite over on the other side. He can't even contest it. It's not a 50-50. And then you waste all your time doing the dragon, lose your flash, don't get the dragon, die after, and you are just so far behind.
This game is literally the poster for why the meta is jungle support, man. And you can really leverage so many advantages out of playing for jungle. These incremental breakpoints, smite upgrades, big levels. I mean, obviously at level 6 versus level 4 is just like, holy moly, he's going to beat 2 people over the head. But also, as you said, you invested all your work taking this dragon to low health, and then he beats you up and takes your lunch money, and they kill you too.
Yeah.
It could not get very much worse. It could not get very much worse. You saw there in our list of experience. That was not a very fun one. And having a look here, the first time Kanavi has ever gone 10 deaths in a game.
Yeah,
and that was previous game. So this game, we'll
see whether he can break the record. Currently on to 2, but it is still very early days. Still, I mean, 1.7K, it's very early in the game, so that is a large lead, but as this game gets later, it's going to mean less, and there are late-game win conditions here for HLE this time around. I feel like as far as the draft is concerned, it's not the same as game number 2. However, BLG didn't get off to this kind of lead in game number 2 either. So Headbutt gets Kanavi out of there. He's back over once again as the Chains of Corruption are going to come down. Viper not going to be able to hit him as Kanavi did manage to hit level 6.
Zeka's moving down, so they're threatening the dive here.
Yep. Delight only level 5 here, but should be able to get the knockup. Does find it there onto the cow. They should be able to get this kill for the first one of the game, and Gumayusi is the one to claim it. Kanavi's definitely dead, but he's used to that so far this game. And so BLG, a 1-for-1 in that bottom lane, but plates to go over to Guma could be a big deal.
Honestly, I like the call from On. He's like, okay, yes, you guys do have the extra power here, but I will sacrifice myself under tower to make sure it's going to delay Kanavi even more. Viper?
Yeah, there is the quickness towards that bottom side of the map as Delight gets himself out of there. Gumayusi gonna need to finish this one off, and he does do so. A 1-for-1 under the turret as the teleport gets Knight in, but a little bit late.
Yeah, Guma just never used his ult, so I was kind of surprised. Maybe he made the read that I'm dead no matter what, but it wasn't the read that I had from that position. I felt like he could have used the ult a little bit earlier and maybe been able to actually pull off an escape thereafter. At the end of the day, it is that 1-for-1, and Guma does create a nice little lead for himself, but Viper got 2 kills in this series of plays as well, so even though he lost a lot of farm, he's not as far down as you think.
Shun can move in. He's got a blast gun to work with.
Oh dear. Kanavi this time is going to back away, and the Sentinel loses his patience.
Going top.
Let's see whether this Ryze can make a difference up there, as in the meantime, we've got another battle, and that is just going to be the secure by Shun. Dominating in this jungle matchup still, as Zeka makes his way back towards this mid lane, not going to find an angle towards Bin on the top side of the map. One good bit of information here is that Zeus has really been able to close the gap towards that top side as far as farm. It is still 1,000 gold, but the Olaf hasn't been zoned away from everything.
And that is one good bit of information, but if you're a BLG fan, there's a lot of bits of it good information, you know?
There's an entire book of good information.
Take your choice. You can look here. Oh, that's nice. Ooh, that looks pretty good over there.
Yeah, personally, I'll start with the title page, and that is our Nocturne that has a 1.5K gold lead. And look at that, the Hex Tech plate right there. So those Nocturne ultimates are going to be fired off very quickly.
Kanavi's got a tunneler, and now a little hammer as well. He definitely can.
Tunnel into the ground and hide.
The Coinbase Gold Grind comes in. That is going to be the cleanse to get out of the Chains of Corruption as Knight's moving in. Bear lands on top of Delight, but he's not dead just yet. Just barely able to get himself out of the way as a teleport flies on through. Zeus turns up, takes the 50 gold as he kills the bear, and will just wander up the river.
Knight thought he was dead to Ryze. I think he could have finished him with an auto attack maybe even, but thought he was dead for sure to the tippers. Does not finish him off, so Delight does escape, but this means free time for Bin on the top side. You can see Zeka's moving up there to try to answer, but Bin is farming plates.
Nocturne ult for Dragon maybe? Do they see them? Oh, they're not going to contest the Dragon right now.
Oh, it's going to be secured. All right, so HLE on the board as far as the Drakes are concerned. A second Ocean Soul this series, back-to-back here. But it was pretty important in the last game, so I hope that HLE are able to give it a little bit more priority this time around.
Well, they got one of the early dragons, so they're in a much better spot already for delaying that soul. But the triple grubs we never really talked about. Shun was able to trade a play on top side when they were going for all those bot lane shenanigans, looking for those dives. So we got all 3 grubs. Bin has a winning side lane. You have this Jax who is going to be set up for success in the 1v1 later on in the game anyway, now enabled by those grubs. And that is just going to make things even more difficult. But Guma and Delight feel like the hope right now.
Oh no, only level 5 here for On as he has to flash to get out of the way with the grand entrance. And that is going to be a dead cow. Mincemeat on the rift as HLE will try and get another plate, but they run out of minions. And behind the turret goes Gumayusi. At least the bottom side is going well here for Hanwha Life eSports.
Yeah, Atlus, some support experience difference there. Having the ult there, the charm from Delight, it's easy to pick up the kill on, and they also get his flash and a bunch of extra money into Guma's Xayah.
Okay, so ulti's traded here towards the top side, but a ghost going to be used from Zeus as well. Flash Ignite still up for Bin as Shun.
They want to fight this.
Yeah, he's on this red buff. Kanavi kind of sick of giving these away, but he is nowhere near. And Zeus going to have to wander on over, eat some honey fruit before he gets there as the turret is taken towards his bottom side. And it is once again in Gumayusi we trust on the HLE side.
I feel like it's a good place to trust. I thought he had a really good Ziggs game, and now he is so far ahead.
Headbutt back onto the line, but the battle dance towards Zeus will be able to nullify all of that.
I mean, holy, he's got 2 items at 13 minutes. Guma is ridiculously fed, and Viper has been getting starved because Viper, you know, to no real fault of his own, has just been getting zoned off the tower constantly by good play from HLE. Zeka threatening roams, Kanavi realizing, all right, the game's not about me. I'm not going to be able to farm. I'm going bot. I'm playing for Guma, and that is the right choice in a game like this. You can't just sit back and try to farm because Shun is going to push you off everything. You have to find a win condition, and HLE have done that now with Guma being hugely fed.
So Bin's really frightening as well, though. He's moved up to a 1.3k gold advantage. It's pretty close to what Guma has on the other side, but they also have an extraordinarily fed jungler. And the BLG gold lead has fallen down to about 700, but I do feel like that game plan that you guys were talking about, what they've been playing around so well so far, this MSI, to be perfectly honest, is still well and truly moving towards later in the game.
Yeah, we need to see if Shun can actually like really win these side lanes even more. You know, if they are able to get to the next stage of the game, which is when outer towers start dropping, they're fairly low right now in the side lanes, and the first one already taken on the bottom side. But when you start to open up that map, if the Nocturne does not put the influence of this lead into effect in the mid game, then you give a lot of room for HLE and Guma to retake control.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I mean, they really want to get those outer towers down because you make it a long lane for Zeus or Zeka, and you're up against this strong Zax and the threat of that Nocturne. All of a sudden, it becomes pretty easy to chase you down. With that tower behind them, these aren't easy characters to actually kill off. Yeah. They're relatively tanky. They have the ability to survive and escape, and they are playing it defensively because they know the game is not about us right now. It is about Guma. That's where the action is going to be for HLE. And if you are Zeus or Zeka, your job is survive, farm, clear waves, and scale.
Yep. Zeus does have his Stride Breaker as well, which, as we just saw in that last exchange, use it when he leaps onto you, and then you can walk out of the Counter-Strike a little bit more effectively. You mentioned, Isaac, that making sure you keep up the Counter-Strike is very important into the Olaf, so if he ends it early, that's also a good thing. And so this Stride Breaker going to be very, very helpful here for Zeus in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, the stun's obviously always great from the Counter-Strike, but in these auto-attack based matchups, just letting it run full against champions like Zhao and Olaf, it just cuts their damage down so heavily. It makes it very, very difficult. BLG trying to force around this Herald here. Guma, though, as we said, has his 2 items, and Delight has Exhaust ready, has a Locket ready, so they have tools to keep Guma protected, though he has been poked a bit by Viper, and I think that's going to make them just give it up.
Yeah, Zeka was thinking about moving from that top side of the map, but they are just going to give it up. And a bit of a fadeaway arrow there to help Shun out as he picks up the eye. This Nocturne still running the Rift right now with one of the largest individual leads on it. And in fact, his individual lead is actually the BLG advantage, as Bin and Gumayusi are kind of canceling each other out right now.
Yeah, we got a comparison. Top side of the map versus bottom side of the map. And if you can land some poke damage ahead of time onto Guma, then they can really put the pressure to him. He is running, of course, the cleanse with his flash and his ultimate, so has a lot of buttons still to press, but even if one spell lands, it gets kind of dangerous.
Well, the Rift Herald, bit of a battle herald here for BLG if they'd like to grab this second dragon for themselves. As in goes on, could be a knock-up into a pulverize, as Shelly is avoided quite well. It's only Zeus that gets put up towards the sky, but in that, it is going to be the Drake secured by Shun. Immediately, though, Viper just dies. The quickness to grab Shun at the same time as he has to flash to get out of the way. BLG, they only sacrifice 1, though, and getting that second Drake, a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal grabbing that second Drake.
Oh, Kanavi going to get a little bit scared here in this brush, but no, is able to break the tether just in time. Shun down to 50%. Gumayusi may be in a little bit of trouble as the bear drops from the sky. As an Australian, quite aware of that, as now Kanavi moving on over. The bear falls down, and BLG do back away, the defense finishes.
Bin does get that tower down on the bot side. I was pretty surprised by where Knight actually TP'd. He TP'd straight to the mid lane tower when they were already on the dragon. So he TP'd so far away from the team. And that is kind of what allowed HLE to go for the fight after the dragon was taken, is that Knight wasn't really with his team whatsoever until much later. You know, he had been up on that top side with Zeka, and I thought he was going to use the TP. There was a deep ward over, you know, by that side lane, and I thought he was going to maybe be looking for something like that, looking for an angle, but instead TP'd very conservatively.
Oh, Delight going to get comboed here, but be able to make his way out to relative safety. Gets a ward down, spots Shun. It's Kanavi. Going to get him with the Wind Becomes Lightning there as well, as they didn't quite factor in Bin being here. There's a knock-up from the 3-Talon Strike, though, that saves Delight as he carries the Ignite with him. Blast goes to get back in, eats some Honey Fruit to get that health bar back again. And that's HLE with a successful defense.
And that's a necessary defense here on the red buff. They got to keep this economy up for Kanavi. I mean, the danger of the Jax in the brush was very real. I thought that was actually going to explode in a fight, but they haven't left the area, and BLG still forcing for the top tower.
Yeah, there's the Paranoia coming down as the Crescent Guard comes in, uses Shun as a taxi to get up towards that top side, but the Grand Entrance doesn't do it, and down goes Kanavi. Gumayusi now to show up as Bin just immediately jumps on top of him. Zeus into that backline. Can he actually get a target, though? Stridebreaker helps him out, and he takes down the jungler. Delight trying to get in there, but the quickness is denied entirely. And Guma still alive, but it's not quite working. Featherstorm comes down. Down goes the Olaf, as well as On is going to get swept up by the razor-sharp feathers, but it's still a BLG team fight.
And Bin came up huge in that fight. Massive chunk onto Guma, pushed him back, and then they just sacrifice Shun. They wait out Zeus' ult. When that expires, they can go back in for the re-engage. Look at this. Full send as On flashes in. They land the fear. Shun is just chasing down this jungler, and then Knight arrives, flashes in, gets a kill. They know Shun is dead, so the rest of them just kind of back off as the Olaf pops his ult, sacrifice their jungler, kite it out, and as that ulti does eventually expire, you can see Viper hitting a Chains of Corruption over on a Delight. Zeus has no ult, they re-engage.
Exactly, and then On is going to create the space there. He goes on the backside carries while the rest of BLG take down Olaf. He thought he was going to be able to survive there, but the Blade Caller, enough little bit of extra damage with the tower shot to take him down. And so it actually only ended up being +1 kills for them in the end. Of course, they also bulldozed over the top tower.
Yeah, exactly. They get that tower, and you can see how much damage Bin got down. It really is just a battle of these two carries. It's going to be Guma versus Bin. Who can get the most value? Guma working in towards that Infinity Edge. Bin has his Thundered Sky. He's on 2 items. Both these guys are monstrously strong. Bin definitely can threaten Guma, but he's going to have to play well, because if you go too far, you get charmed up, you get rooted up, you get blade collared. There's so many tools that they can have to lock him down, and while the Counter-Strike is a window of safety, it doesn't last forever.
Yeah, and I do think that if Viper just hits Chains of Corruption on Delight every single team fight, BLG will win every single one. As Delight goes in, finds an angle towards On, trying to use that ultimate effectively here as the Chains of Corruption do come down once again. Gumayusi getting himself to relative safety as Zeka gets in to try and defend in that backline. Grand exit here for Delight as he makes his way out. No one dead just yet, but the Baron is up. BLG's health bars are kind of looking okay, but they are just going to back off, and it looks like a reset.
Yeah, they didn't quite get enough in cooldowns out of HLE, so HLE do defend the play for now. The vision is still in BLG's control, though, so that's dangerous.
Oh, dear. Zeka is just going to ghost away from BLG, but it's not going to be enough. Just bonked on the head with a lamppost, and Bin is going to claim his 5th of the game.
Yeah, it's the first death there for Zeka, but it's a pretty big one. Didn't have his flash. They're going to lose that tier 2 tower very likely. Kanavi in the area, but could be tough to fight this.
The constant pressure from BLG in this top quadrant of the map up here has really rewarded them. You know, the vision coverage completely in their control, again, even after the fight, and they're able to find the extra pick. Dragon is available with still 12 seconds left on Zeka.
Yeah, Shun making his way out of base. 7 seconds on the Paranoia, though. He can turn up in a moment's notice. Unbreakable Will not quite there for On, as it looks like HLE are going to back away from this Dragon Pit. BLG will say, well, thank you very much for the leash. I know it's not a very big one, but we're happy to do so. That is going to be soul point over to them if they're able to lock this one down. And I think even though an Ocean Soul is good for anyone, denying it from HLE is going to be the important point when you have the poke Varus, and they've been able to do that every single time.
And making Bin that much tankier, if they do get the Ocean Soul, is going to be tough too. He's working towards that third item, Zhonya's, which bridges the gap between those counter-strikes. That is why it is such a popular item. You jump in, leap strike onto Guma, you pop the counter-strike, and then you're supposed to be in this danger zone, but you go into the Seekers, it resets the cooldowns, you get that counter-strike coming back up, and that is where Jackson becomes so dangerous later on into the game, when you have all of these max rank abilities, such short cooldowns.
Well, On looking for an angle here as the Paranoia comes down once again. Let's see whether they can keep Guma safe. The Blade Caller and Shun gonna have to flash to get out, but Kanavi is just dead in the blink of an eye. Xayah's looking for an angle towards Bin, but On just throws him up into the air. Ragnarok still hasn't been procced just yet, so Zeus is still pretty scary, as Tibbers is going for a little bit of a scouting mission in the HLE jungle. But without their jungler, BLG might have an opportunity to go towards the Baron now. No Smite to worry about. And Shun, honestly, he's had Kanavi's number on that front anyway throughout this series.
Yeah, these two-part engages with on Alistar comboing the Xayah every time to get Guma an early ultimate, and then Shun going in with the Nocturne is rewarding them. But again, this one's still just going to be one more kill, not the actual objective that is fully going to claim the game for BLG. So HLE, they still hold on for now. The next Dragon Soul appointment is going to be 3.5 minutes in the future, so they have something to look forward to.
They absolutely do. I mean, Guma has the IE now, so he has the damage. He just needs the time to actually deal it, but that is going to be very, very difficult. Zeka on 2 items. He's not going to have Actualizer by the time we get to that Soul fight. You know, we might have Knight on his 3rd item. Viper's working towards his 3rd item, so BLG definitely going to be very, very strong.
Well, On might be in a little bit of trouble here, as 5 seconds on the ulti. He's going to have to use the flash to get out of there instead. So HLE choosing their moment quite well.
That's pretty big, because that means no flash on for this pivotal fight, this Dragon Soul fight. And that is going to make it much more difficult for him to access Guma. Obviously, he has Spellbook. He can use something else, but Guma has everything available, and HLE want to keep it that way for the next couple minutes.
Oh, Dustbrain comes out here from Shun, gives away his position towards these popcorn chickens, as there is the Paranoia. The Realm Warp to get them underneath the turret as Guma takes it down first. The feathers have been laid, as into the backline goes Zeus, and immediately he is taken down. And now it's BLG's turn to go on the offensive. Kanavi using the Crescent Guard to try and create some space, but it is once again a pick here for BLG, and summoner spells all over the place for Hanwha.
Another Ryze Realm Warp delivers their own team death, Atlus. It is a solo dive mission there from Zeus on the other side. They were split directions, and he got bursted down by the Varus and the Nocturne, and now the Baron under attack.
Yeah, 25.5 minutes into the game, the Baron does do a fair bit of damage here, as we can see. Shun down to 50%. They are just going to be backing away, not wanting to risk it all on a Baron take.
Exactly. They realize it's not worth sending it here. Could still get taken away. The Dragon Soul available in 145. HLE maybe feeling a bit of pressure, thought that they had it to go for it. You know, they do Realm Warp in on the tower. The tower was very low, though, so went down quickly. But we saw as Zeus went into that backline, he just got focused down in a hurry, burst through his cooldowns, and just wasn't able to take out Viper.
Yeah, I mean, because BLG have constantly looked to pressure side lane and pressure top. It's not like he's a super fed Olaf that's going to be able to 1v9 on that side, and so good burst damage there on the side of BLG.
The one question, though, is can they capitalize on the missing flash from Viper? Because he did have to use that, and you look over at Delight, you see flash available, you see Guma and Zeka have flash available. Maybe they can try to catch Viper on this Varus, kill him off quick at the team fight. That could be a window in, because HLE are going to have to try to get creative, find an angle to deny this soul. I just think from this far behind, you cannot afford to give over an uncontested Ocean Soul.
Well, it's 50 seconds on the clock, and HLE are largely here towards the top side of the map. Teleport in hand here for Knight, and he can just join any sort of fight in that river anytime they would like. As Kanavi and Zeus are in position for now, but it looks like Zeus is just going to back off, clear out this wave.
You can see BLG are giving all their camps to Bin. So I think he's trying to rush towards Zhonya's. He's trying to get the last bit of gold, I have to assume, for that Zhonya's. He's taking the Krugs right now, you know, taking those jungle camps, and If he can get that, would be huge, but I don't know that he has time to base, so it looks like he won't be able to get there.
Well, Kanavi with a cute little steal and becomes lightning. Finally, something going his way. A couple of items have been completed here for Zhao as well.
I think he would love to get that level 16 too. He's so close to it there for Bin. If he could get some solo experience, if he could just soak up level 16 for another rank in the ulti.
Looking like it might be a little bit too late as far as that is concerned, but he is still extraordinarily strong here in this game. As Zeka on a flank angle, Knight teleporting in, will join the rest of his teammates. 5 strong on BLG's side. The paranoia comes on through with Gumayusi not going to be able to help take this one down as Shun secures another soul. And Kanavi, he's trying to fight this one out, but he is just going to go down. Bin in that backline, able to escape very comfortably. And once again, BLG taking the lunch money. The Featherstorm has to be used by Gumayusi as they are going to try and take down this cow, but the bear comes from the sky, takes out the Rakan, and BLG will just cruise towards the Baron.
BLG just played it so beautifully. Bin on the side was threatening to flank the entire time, so Guma could never step up, because if he walks in, Bin will kill him, while the rest of the team just focus down Kanavi, and then on presses forward, forces out that ult. Just look at Bin on the top of your screen there, constantly threatening the ability to go in. They win this might, and then it just eyes on the jungler, fear into Chains of Corruption, and the combo, they kill him off. Bin survives on the side, and then they just chase forward, force out Guma's ult, and take out Delight.
And the rewards are huge. As you can see in the picture-in-picture, they also got the Baron, they also got some turret plate money, and it is a huge, huge swing here. That is going to be what pushes BLG over the edge.
A 5,000 gold lead now here for BLG as a result of that priceless moment. As Delight clears out the control wards, I just don't think it's going to be enough here from HLE's side. We've seen magic from Rakan's in the LCK and from Delight in particular, but it is getting more and more difficult. Yes, there's 4 items on Gumayusi, but is that going to really make the difference here?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be extremely tough, you know, but there is always a chance. The problem is, though, when you are the team behind and you look over and you see all these luxury items come through, it gets so tough. You realize fully completed Zonias after that, fully completed GA after that, Knight's Vow for On, all of these tools to make the carries that much more difficult to take down, and Kanavi could be in a bit of trouble.
Level 14 to level 16 here, as Shun with the last level in that Paranoia. He's feeling very, very good on this Nocturne. It's a long sword in comparison to a Guardian Angel between the junglers. It's a lot of extra money this Nocturne does have, as HLE just trying to defend these Baroned up minions. On looking for an angle, you can see it. He was ready for a headbutt pulverize, but does not go in.
And the side lane's very dangerous. Bin's got his level lead, he's got his 3-item power spike, and he's got a Nocturne on his team who is also fed, as you're highlighting, with another 3-item power spike. So BLG, they play the 4-1 split push, and
max range, that is going to be the cleanse coming on through here. Gets Gumayusi out of dodge, but that is still going to be this turret falling down. The outer turret taking a long time to go, 30 minutes into the game, but still, they managed to get through it, and now Bin knocking on the back door here at the same time. Light gets himself out of the way. Gumayusi in a lot of trouble. He's just trying to get through these minions. As in goes Kanavi, but out he goes immediately with the headbutt, and they dive on top of Zeus and wipe him off the rift. BLG have found their opening, and they're going to take even more after.
Great call. On defends on the left with the headbutt, and Shun attacks on the right with the ulti.
BLG are just playing it so well, so patiently. Guma keeps getting poked. He went for the Gluttonous Greaves, but only 2 stacks, and the game may be already over. He's not getting that much lifesteal from it, and Viper is just staying at range, constantly poking and prodding and targeting Guma, making his life difficult. And now it's a full court press. 3 waves being Baron buffed up. They already take out that mid inhib. They're on the towers in top, and Bin is going to be threatening through bot lane as well. HLE have maybe got one more fight left in them, but they've got to wait for Zeus, and you're hoping for a miracle.
We'll see whether they can make that one work, because now Delight trying to get himself out of the way of On. Bin with that counter-strike running will be able to leap strike over the wall. As there's an exhaust. They really want to commit on this one. Is the Chains of Corruption going to be instantly cleansed? They might be able to get the Jax, but never mind, they will not. Down goes the Xayah Rakan. Into the backline they go. Bin goes golden though, and now he's looking to escape from Zeus. He does manage to get one of the kills onto Viper. Delight tries to get in, and it does not work out. Bin survives, and BLG will knock down down these towers and move to match point in the MSI finals.
Bin is dancing on him in and out with these leap strikes, man. What a game plan from BLG, well crafted. They have the Nocturne early, Bin gets his Jax carry top, they split the jungle for him, they split the map, and Shun is able to bring it home. Analyst Des, are BLG gonna win again?
Is the jungle gap gonna stay this big? Because I feel like that'll answer the question. Holy crap!
Don't do him like this, you know what?